you about their offense and how they're running things, missing so many guys?
I think with Eli Manning, he's just always been a great quarterback in the NFL. He's always found ways to win games, and when he's ever under the center, they have a chance to win. I think their running game is doing really well. I think Sterling Shepard's a really good receiver too. I think when he starts to play this week, I think it'll be really great for them too. But I just think they've been just a great offense with them. I think they've had close games. Most of the games they lost have been by like 3 or 4 points. So it's not like they're not a good team. It's just sometimes in the NFL games come down to the wire, and yet it's who makes the last play. And that's been the case for them this year, and except for the Broncos game. But other than that, it's been a really close game for them. And I think this is a really good challenge for us. We come off a bye week. It's about, are we prepared? Are the same when we left? We played a great game against the Rams. Are we going to be able to come back and keep that going? And I think we've been practicing well. I think guys came back in shape. I think guys are poised to be able to be in a position to win again. So I think we're going to be good.
How is your foot?
Foot is always. I mean, the foot hurts. I mean, obviously, you get to as many years as I played in the NFL, you deal with pain as you go through. And I think for me, it's just being able to focus on the game and not too much worry about it, because once you make that decision to play, then you have to play through it. And for me, that's just dealing with the pain through the game.
How much did the bye week help?
The bye week always helps. I think it always helps spiritually, mentally, and physically to get away from the game a little bit, enjoy your family, watch other games on TV. Spend some time working on what you messed up on during the season, and just reflecting. It's just a period of reflection, and I think that's the greatest thing about the bye week. You kind of reflect on the game, you reflect on your life, and you reflect on your family. So it was good to get a bye week this early.
Was it a new injury or sort of a re-aggravation? Or?
No, it was a new injury. To have that is obviously it hurts every time you walk. It's something you have to deal with. But just fighting through it is just any other day.
You're playing Sunday?
Yeah.
Did you get a chance to talk with the players who were involved in the NFL players and owners meeting?
You got to talk to the players in the owners meeting. I think the first step to even being able to even have a conversation is making sure that Colin Kaepernick gets an opportunity to play in the NFL. I think that's before we even negotiate anything about whether we sit, whether we stand, it should be a negotiation about opening up the doors for Colin Kaepernick and giving him an opportunity again. Because I feel like through everything that's been lost, I think all of us are having an opportunity to be able to speak to our employers, and then to think about the guy who started everything, not to be able to have a voice at this moment, it just doesn't seem very right to me. But to be able to talk about giving him opportunity in some fashion, in some way, there has to be the owners. If the employers are willing to accept what we're doing and trying to make a change, then the change has to start with him having an opportunity and getting a chance to play. For me, that's the first step before we make any kind of decisions, is that we have to bring up that issue and be able to talk about it. And why doesn't he have a job? And if you look at the quarterbacks playing in the NFL right now, I can't name one out of the backups. I can't name one better than him. And there's a lot of good quarterbacks that's starting, but if you really think about the backups and having an opportunity to even get a chance to suit up, and I think before we can move forward, that's something that we need to address as a league and address as the players and address as the NFLPA, because if it can happen to one of our own, then how can we fight for what we want if we can't protect the people who play next to us? And I think that's something that we need to make sure that we get across to the employers and Roger and the rest of the guys.
What was the response to that yesterday, or was that brought up yesterday?
I think it was brought up, but I think they didn't really get deep into it. But I think it's something, like I said, there needs to be a deep conversation, and we need to find a solution about that. Whether they say this is what's happening, he's not going to play again, or whether they open the doors up. But I think there needs to be some kind of resolution to what's going on.
Are you afraid that might, just like Trump's comments and the controversy with the anthem itself, you afraid that the Kaepernick issue, advocating for that right now, might derail the message and what?
I think that's not derailing the message. I think that is a part of the message. I think what he brought up, he started the message, and for us to forget about who started it, I think it's just. I don't think we're not following our brotherhood or whatever. We got to make sure we bring that up. I don't think it derails the message. I think that is a part of the message. Also giving him the opportunity, because if we're going to talk about the message, a guy who brought it up can't get sacrificed to not be able to have the opportunity to play again. So for me personally, and I think a lot of other guys, I think that's something that needs to be addressed.
If he remains unemployed, can you work alongside with the league, like Doug Baldwin in his letter with? I
don't think we could work alongside of them until we address that issue. I think the issue with Kaepernick is the start to a conversation. If they want us to be open to what they want, the dialogue, then that's something that needs to be on the table right there.
Is that something that you and other players have agreed upon?
Yeah, I think that's something that all of us agree upon. Yeah.
Have you been able to talk to Colin? Only anybody talked to him late in the last 24 hours at all, or?
Oh, no, I mean, we talked, but I was just saying that for me, like I said, there's no that's on the table. That has to be on the table before we can have any other discussions.
Goodell apparently said today he wants every player to stand, or the goal is every player stands for the anthem. You obviously weren't. For what? Did you plan to continue sitting for the
I
anthem?
plan on sitting down in general. So, like I said, I continue to do what I've been doing, and the consequences are the consequences, I guess, if teams don't want guys to play. I mean, even when you think about what Jerry Jones said, I think is crazy, and I just think it's inconsiderate of a person being a human being. I think, to me, like I was telling Greg the other day, I just thought it was like remind me of the Dred Scott case. You know, you're a property, so you don't have the ability to be a person first. And I think that in this generation, I think that sends the wrong message to young kids and young people all across the world that your employer doesn't see you as a human being; they see you as a piece of property. And if that's the case, then I don't get it. I just don't get why you don't see him as a human being. They don't see us as human beings first.
Anything else?